All right, welcome back, everybody, to Sports 2.0 Network
What's
Golf
up?
Show. Wednesday nights here with Justin and Grant. Uh, we were off last week, had some conflicts, and it was an awful, awful field. Not really a tournament anybody cared about. Um, interesting,
Bermuda.
interesting tournament down there in Bermuda. Um, a
The
big
weather
choke
turned up a little
by,
bit.
the weather did turn up,
Drift, yeah.
particularly the morning of Thursday. Those guys got absolutely screwed. It was like unplayable
Mm.
wins almost, and they all like even was a great score that morning, and then some of the guys went out in the afternoon and shot 6, 7 under. So those
Right.
guys got kicked in the balls a little bit to start. They didn't really have a chance. They were so far behind the 8 ball. But it ended up being a pretty good tournament. Taylor Pendrith kind of just threw up everywhere down the stretch, and Lucas Herbert got the victory, first victory for him. So
Yeah, we need to not skip over our Zozo because we didn't hit it last week and we cleaned up at that tournament. So we need to
yeah,
mention that.
yeah.
Tringali top 10. I had a Norlander top 20. Mork over Zanda matchup. You had a Hoagie top 20 and a Hughes top 20. We got screwed on the matchup at the end because Tringali beat, and I think, who was it, Decky made an
Yeah,
eagle on 18. It was insane. But
right.
so he went from 2 to 5 in one hole, which sucks because I was watching on 17. I'm like, holy crap, we're gonna be millionaires. And he screwed the margin there at the end. But we did an unbelievable job on that tournament, thankfully. So
Yeah,
this should be a good
yeah,
week and a lot better field than last week.
yeah. I was on a bit of a cold run, like I mentioned a few weeks ago. That's two good tournaments in a row there with Zozo and the tournament before that. So let's finish off the year here with a couple. I think we got Mayakoba and then Houston and then RSM before a pretty good break over the Christmas holiday. So let's finish strong here. We actually have a decent field. This is the Worldwide Technologies Mayakoba Classic. I think it's what it's called. It's got a
What?
WWT.
Hmm.
Is the kind of the abbreviation I've seen everywhere. Good field, for an off-season kind of event. JT, Hovland, Brooks, Finau, Scheffler, some good players in the field, which is interesting. This tournament usually gets like one or two guys. This resort, you and I've looked at before, unbelievable. So it's not like a super
Right.
shock that some of these guys go and chill at this resort. Probably take a vacation the week after or the week
Yeah.
before. Um, so, it's nice to have a
Wasn't
good field.
Wasn't this the tournament last year where Brooks stayed an extra week and then he was all over social media partying with his wife?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he like missed a cut. I don't even think he did good. I think
Yeah,
this is Vic is the defending champ. Um, Nerves of steel from him last year down the stretch, made a couple nice birdies. Uh,
this is a big win for him last year.
it's a weird kind of tournament where it's 7,100 yards or about 7,000 yards, par 71. It's short and it's like big premium on hitting the fairways. There's a bunch of like mangroves and jungle
Right.
kind of stuff on the if you miss the fairway and some water ocean type stuff on some other holes. Kind of like last week, the wind can play a factor. It can get relatively windy, maybe not quite as severe as last week, but this course is easy. They tear it up big time every year. If you go back and look at the winners, it's a bunch of guys who putt it really well for the most part. Kuchar has won. Harris English has won. Vic's kind of an outlier in terms of putting, but he just ball striked his way around and made enough putts, kind of deal.
Yeah.
Um,
Brandon
so it'll
Thompson.
be interesting. With a better field, we've had some kind of random, winners and people that have finished high up. Maybe that's a little bit different with a better field, but I still think we're going to see some guys just put out their ass and climb up the leaderboard that way.
Yeah, we have Palm Greens this week. We don't
We
have
got the Prince of Paspalum
we don't
in
have that many weeks. I don't even think it's Puerto Rico.
Kiowa. Is the
Oh,
most recent tournament.
Kiowa. Okay, so yeah, there's not very many. Corrales, maybe I don't know. There's not very many of them on there, so it'll be interesting. I wouldn't
Yeah,
say I'm the best, most knowledgeable about paspalum grass types, but I know
yeah.
it's
You
pretty
see
rare
it.
and it
There's
seems
some
pretty.
courses in Florida that do have Paspalum. Not any that the tour plays, but I think if you play in Florida every now and then, you'll see it just by happenstance.
Right.
It's kind of surprising that Kiowa, a course like that, has Paspalum, but they do. The Prince of Paspalum, Pat Perez. Everybody, that's what his kind of nickname is because he'll go down to these resort courses in the fall and just kind of clean up with some money. Charles Howell, if you go look at his finishes here over the years, he's built a freaking house off of a really, really, really nice house just off of this tournament. Every year, he's got all kinds of top 25s and top 30s. So I'm going to be looking at guys who can get it in the fairway and make some putts. I'm not shying away from ball strikers. I do think you're going to have to hit your irons good to make, 20, 30 birdies, whatever it's going to take to win. But I kind of feel like you're going to have to ride a pretty hot putter.
Yeah, I like it. I got both of those guys in here. I kind of used some fancy national stats of fairways gained, also just mixing some ball striking, and I got some long shots coming up. So I think there actually is some pretty good. I think the good field helps with a little bit of the value because it pushes back some of those guys into their what they're actually worth.
The value is a little bit better.
Right, it helps out a little bit with that. So I'm going to take a couple long shots, but I think that there's some plays. There's definitely some plays at the top that'll be nice too.
Yeah, why don't you start off because you have some interesting outright picks this week. Well, let's hear what you got.
My first one is 90, and that's CT Pan. This is a little bit of an interesting pick. CT Pan has a win in 2019, so we can't say he's not a winner. 4 made cuts here, and his last 2 he was in the top 20, so he's a little bit of comfortability, a little bit of confidence coming in. His ball striking has been really good as of recent. Popped top 5 in my model. It was just kind of a weird play. Whenever I saw it happen, I was like, what's up with CT Pan? So I started looking into it more. Kind of like the number. His irons have been really good. I kind of like this long shot. Hopefully the Paspalum greens will give us a chance with somebody kind of random. I'm okay with taking a flyer here. I know there's some good players down at the bottom, but with an easy course, we see it all the time. A lot of guys can play themselves up towards the top. And I did like Vic. I understand he's at like 16 or something. It's like him and JT are both at 16. But I like guys longer down the board. I think you have some ones that are a little shorter that I'll also pick up.
Yeah, I just thought there was some decent value in the 40s with a couple of guys that I think make sense for this golf course, but I don't have any problem going down and digging a little deeper with kind of the birdie fest putt nature of this event by any means. So yeah, I don't hate that at all. I'm going back to
I don't know won the event last week. Lucas Herbert.
Wow, there's 50 players in this field who are better than anyone in that field. So I'm going to start a little higher. I'm going Patrick Reed 35-1. Anytime they give me Reed at this number,
yeah, I like this.
In an event where you got to make a lot of putts, I'm going to probably take it.
Right.
He putted really well. He finished second last week at Bermuda. He was putting pretty good. He's one of those guys that his game can just kind of come on out of nowhere. He hadn't been playing that great before last week, but 35-1 on a guy who he's proven that he wins a lot of golf tournaments, and this field's good, not great. So I think the value is there. I mean, there's guys, there were some stupid names ahead of him. Pulling up here because they are kind of outrageous. Cameron Tringale's 28. Get the fuck out of here. Tyrrell Hatton's 30. Shane Lowry's 30. Aaron Wise is 30. Like, come on. Those guys don't have a third of the wins combined, if that, of what Reed has got. So, that's just kind of a silly number. I think it's a good number on a guy who's playing some pretty decent golf, as we saw last week.
The Aaron Wise numbers dropping is hilarious because everybody's going to chase him, and you're just going to chase him to not wins, and you're going to bet him at 30-1. It's crazy. It's like they're going to they're literally taking your money whenever you bet that bet. So I think this is good value also. Like I said, I knew you were going to go a little lower, so I was going to try to mix in some longer guys. And I have another guy who's even longer, guy who got second place last week, Danny Lee, 130-1. His Paspalum putting is great. When I filtered for Paspalum, he was way up there at the top, which is great. Second last week, like I said, 4 straight made cuts here with 2 top 5s and 2 top 25. So he's obviously he has some sort of comfortability in this part of this type of golf, right? This like Caribbean like style resort course, style, shorter. I like that. Here we're Denny Lee. Take the number, ride the confidence. He's probably not going to win, but if he contends, you're going to want somebody you're going to want the 130 up there. So I actually kind of like this number because he's obviously in really good form. If he wouldn't have played well last week, I would never even considered this. But there's obviously something to this style of golf because he's played well here 4 times in a row, and he played well last week. So there's got to be something to it. I'm going to try to throw a little flyer out there, and if you hit a 130, I mean that's just crazy.
Yeah, that's a fun week. You hit something over 100.
Right.
I think it's possible in an event like this. Some of those top guys, while they're here, they may be just hanging out, drinking, chilling type deal.
There's gonna be a lot of Coronas being drank.
Yeah, that's for sure. My second guy is Matt Fitzpatrick at 40-1. His number's kind of different depending on where you check, and I think he's relatively popular. So I'm not breaking any new ground here, but he just kind of fits what I'm looking for this course. He gets it in play. He's actually been driving it a lot better over the last 6 or 8 months in terms of distance, so don't mind that. And he's just a really, really, really good putter, and he's been winning. He's got, I think, 2 wins in the last, since the Open on the Euro Tour. I think he won that tournament the week before the Open, and then he just won. Did he win the BMW? He won one of the Euro Tour events there just a couple of weeks ago. So
it wasn't very long ago. No, it was like the Abbott. No, gosh, now I forgot what it was called.
He just won. Doesn't matter. Yeah. He's got 2 wins in pretty recent time. He's got 7 or 8 Euro wins now. So it's just kind of a matter of time, in my opinion, for him to win over here. And this course sets up pretty well for what he brings to the table. And 40 is a pretty fair number. Like I mentioned, freaking Cam Tringali and Aaron Wise are ahead of him. So it makes no sense if you compare it to that. So I just think that his putter has elite potential. I've said this on the show before, he's the best Bermuda putter in the world. I don't really know how Bermuda compares to Paspalum. I've never putted on Paspalum, but
me either.
He's an excellent putter. His irons have been good enough, when he does bring him to the table. So 40 is a good number.
Yeah, I actually don't mind the number. Unfortunately, I have a bet coming up later this show that's going to have Fitzpatrick on the wrong side of a matchup, but that doesn't mean you can't bet an outright, because if you bet the upside, you're going to – if he plays well, he definitely can contend. So you're kind of playing that hit or miss with him. But I don't hate it. I like taking some guys a little less down the board, because although those guys, if Victor Hovland plays really well, he's in first or second probably. So it's going to be tough, but I think you can find some really make putts, because with these shorter courses, it brings so many guys up into the competition. If they just put it in the fairway, they're going to have such easy shots going into the greens, and then it's just a matter of making putts. So I don't know. I think it'll be fun. Yeah. I think we'll have some big numbers. It should be fun.
Yeah. I do think that it'll be an interesting kind of watch tournament. Top 10s. I am going to go with Abe Answer. He's obviously going to be popular. He hasn't finished worse than 21st in this tournament the last 4 years. 14th in his last start, and he had 2 top 12s in the 2 of the last 3 starts before that. He's just really good, and this course just makes perfect sense for him. He relies on from the fairway in, because he doesn't hit it far. And this course is all about from the fairway in. He's going to be in the fairway, and he's going to hit awesome iron shots. He's a good putter. He's a good chipper. And he can just make a ton of birdies. So I just plus 175, I think maybe you can find it a little bit higher at your local book. But, that's a fair number for a guy who, has proven to be one of the better players at this course, and is definitely one of the better players in this field.
Yeah, he's going to be one of, if not the most popular golfer on the weekend for sure, just based on his skill set and how good he's playing right now. I really like it. It's a lot. I mean, you have a lot of safeguards in place, a lot of insurance with his game. And he's going to do it the right way. He's not going to come out and do some crazy crap. He's going to hit it down the fairway, and he's going to put it as close to the hole as he can. He just kind of plays the same game over and over again every single week. When he gets on courses like this that fit that style, then you have a chance to really contend. He got the win, which is great. I think it is kind of nice. We feel so much more confident betting him now that he already has the win. You feel he might have might have learned something. I don't know. But it'll be interesting to see him maybe get in contention again to see how he performs. But I like it. I'm going Russell Henley top 10, 4-1. Last 24 rounds in my model approach, he was number 1. Opportunities gained, he was number 1. Fairways gained, he was 12. So he's got a very similar game where he just ball strikes in the fairway and puts it close to the hole. So 2 top 25s in his last 2 events, which is great. Putter stinks, but we're going to have to ride the ball striking and hope that these greens that are a little wonky and unique give him a chance to play well. Maybe a little bit more resort style at my code, a little easier for him to read. I've never obviously been there. I hope someday we do get to go there. It looks amazing, but I think he's live. I think he's a guy next to the hole, so I think it'll be good. And a 4-1's pretty good on a guy who we know for sure is going to give himself the opportunities.
Yeah, that is for sure. He's just a good player. He's really, really good tee to green. It's just kind of the putter thing. There's a lot of guys out there who have the same kind of game.
Yeah, his putter sucks.
He's kind of like a knockoff JT in the sense that, like, yeah, everything else is good. It's just kind of putter dependent. If the putter shows up, you'll be in good shape.
Yeah, he should be fine. I have another guy at top 20, another ball striker at
top 20. This is we've got a little overlap here because this is my best bet. Ooh. But I'll let you kick it off here, and then I'll wrap it up later on.
I like it. 220, Mito Pereira, top 20. Number 1 in my model for the week. Ball striking has been unbelievable. He hits fairways. He's great par 4 score, which is going to be like these resort courses. The courses like this are just littered with par 4s. It's like all it is.
Right.
Recent finishes, he's either like 30th or in the top 10. Like he just plays well like every single week. And then when he plays extra well, he finishes way up there at the top. So I'm going to try to play the middle of those 2 numbers and cash this number because I think he's a little bit mispriced. I understand that he's a little bit newer, so he's got some questions around him. But his ball striking is just as good or better of a lot of guys that are in front of him. So I'm going to try to take the value while he's young, take the value while he's new, and hit on these top 20s. But because I think this is a guy I can continue to bet week to week, especially as the spring comes around and we have some better numbers on him on good fields.
Yeah, I mean, we've been on him a little bit already. I hit a couple top 20s on him earlier this year. He's my best bet, so I'll save what I've got to say for later. But, he's been really, really solid.
Right.
My top 20, I'm going to go with Russell Knox. He was 12th last week at Bermuda. He's just one of those guys that gets it in the fairway and is a good iron player. His putter, it lags behind, but he does show signs of life. He's gained 3 of his last 5 putting. I like that he played in Bermuda last week, kind of, a similar type of golf course in terms of like its strategy, in the fairway on the green type of thing. And he's played really well here. He's got 3 top 5s. 3 top 10s in his career here. He's never missed a cut. He's just a solid play and a top 20 number at 3-1. That's really, that's a really fair number for a guy who's played well at this course and is playing well right now.
Yeah, I like it. He's on the past performers too on my list here. I think he's been playing pretty well here at this course, so I like that too.
Definitely.
And a guy who hits the fairway, it makes sense for him to do that. So let's kind of ride that and cash some. I like both those top 20s pretty well. There's some good top 20 value this week down the.
There really is, yeah.
So I think you could pick a couple guys, like a guy like CT Pan that I have to win. You could even maybe say screw the win and litter a top 20, put a top 20 out there on him instead.
Right.
So, something like that would be appropriate. Even Danny Lee, something like that.
Yeah. I think if there's guys farther down the board that you maybe like for a top 10 or top 20, just throw a couple bucks on them on an outright because this tournament is weird enough that if they really, really get a hot putter, I think that there's some value to be had there.
Yeah, let's go to matchups. Who do you got for that?
Why don't you kick us off here with the matchups? DraftKings offered quite a few this week. A decent amount of overlap in terms of like there's a bunch of Abe and a bunch of the top guys matchups, but 15 from Rivers in 100 and some player field. Come on.
Not great. It's not great. I'm gonna stick to my CT Pan love for the week, and I'm going CT Pan over Chris Kirk. Even money. Same stuff as I said earlier, and kind of already harped on. Kirk's actually been pretty good, but nothing too crazy. I really just think CT Pan's going to play well this week, and if he's up there, I'm going to want to have some sort of money on him. So that'll be where I'm going for his kind of side, his little kind of side matchup, as you would say. For you're going to kind of take some extra money on a guy who might not win, but you're going to hope that he's up there.
Right.
Come Sunday, so. I like that bet. Chris Kirk is whatever. I don't know. He's so up and down. It's hard to tell like what he's going to do. Same with CTPN, but CTPN plays well at certain places, and I think this is a place where he can continue to do that. So I'm going to try to take the money and put it in a matchup, which is always good. We've always harped on it. The other guy can play bad, and you can still play well, and you could still win. Same exact thing. You could play bad and still win it too. So it's kind of all over the board.
Yeah. I think that matchup makes a lot of sense for like kind of a tournament like this. You just have to make your decision when you're picking a matchup. Am I fading the guy or am I going to ride the other guy? That's kind of your two schools of thought. I'm going to go Joaquin Niemann -110 over Zalatoris. I'm the biggest Zalatoris guy there is, but I just don't think this course in this like tournament really makes sense for them. I've been saying it for months that I don't think Zalatoris's win is going to come at an event like this. It's just he doesn't make enough putts, and he's really a really bad putter. I read a couple tweets today, I think from Justin Ray, that he looked at kind of, there's not a lot of data out there for putting on paspalum, but if you look, the really, really good putters always putt really good on paspalum, and the bad putters always putt really bad on paspalum. Like it kind of, for whatever reason, like if you look at if you just like look at the board and you're like, oh, like the good putters all putted really well and the bad putters all putted really bad. You don't kind of get every now and then, like on POA, sometimes you get the bad putters putting well because it's such an unpredictable surface. This one seems to not be that way, and Zalatoris is just such a bad putter. 54th at the Zozo miscut before that. He's not playing exceptionally well, obviously. Niemann isn't playing like unbelievable 28th at Zozo, but he hasn't missed a cut since like June. So I kind of know what I'm getting with Niemann. I like the course fit for him a little bit better. His putter's not great either, but he's shown more upside with the putter, certainly. I just don't think this course makes a ton of sense for Zalatoris, and I kind of like getting the even money on Niemann. So,
yeah, it's good. Niemann's an unbelievable player too, so it's nice to have.
23rd for Niemann here last year too, so that doesn't hurt either.
Yeah, I like it. I bet bad putters constantly, but I also like betting against them because then when you watch them and you watch them miss putts, it's great. It's like, oh yes, he made another bogey, almost another birdie putt. So I like it. I'm going to jump over to my margins. Margins have actually kind of bounced back, which has been great. We didn't win at the Zozo, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Because Decky did that, but they would have hit.
Yeah, it was a weird finish.
They would have hit last week had we had our show, and I'm going back this week. This tournament usually ends like right at 20. I think the last 3 years have been 20, 20, and 22. So there's going to be some guys up there with some pretty high scores. I'm going to try to hit that margin again with 1-stroke and 2-stroke, 1-stroke 225, 2-stroke 350. So hope that 2-stroke hits. If not, we'll take our money and walk away with the 1-stroke. I think they're definitely live in these types of tournaments. That's just kind of how golf tournaments finish, and we're gonna keep riding it.
Yeah. You just gotta keep doing your thing. The Decky finish was so weird.
That's terrible.
With Tringali making that bogey and him making the eagle. It was 3-shot swing on the 18th green. So I am for my penny stock pick of the week. It's another true pink slip. A couple of weeks ago, I had Kyle Stanley, who had missed a bajillion cuts in a row and then got to play the no-cut event. He actually played pretty good. He ended up 35th. Didn't hit the top 20 that we had on him. But I'm kind of going in the same direction this week. Brian Steward, he's missed a decent amount of cuts in the row, but he's 4-1 for a top 20. He's played. Do what?
I said he's a fairway finder.
He is a fairway finder. His stats make a lot of sense for this golf course. Top 5 in fairways gained over the last 36 rounds. Top 10 in around the green. Top 10 in putting. He's had good finishes at this golf course in the past. And quite frankly, if anything's going to knock you out of a slump, it's going to be going to a nice ass resort like this and playing golf at a course as nice as this. And and somewhere he's familiar and has played good golf in the past. This is the type of tournament that Brian Steward pops in. You don't see Brian Steward in the top 20 at the U.S. Open or at Riviera or somewhere like this. It's the frickin' Bermudas and Mayacobas and Corrales and random tournaments like that. So I like Steward. He had a really, really nice summer last year, played some really, really good golf. So he's not that far removed from some of his best golf, and this course makes a lot of sense for him.
Yeah, I like him. He was on my list. I didn't pick him, but I have a bunch of stuff down here on him, and he's going to be in the fairway, and he's played well here before, which is also nice. So I like Brian Stewart.
Well, I will kick off the best bet section because we already touched on it earlier. Mito Pereira, top 20 plus 220. He's just been really, really good. He's one of those guys that he came over from Korn Ferry after he won he won enough events to automatically qualify, immediately came over and was excellent right away. I hit a couple bets on him, 34th at the John Deere, and then I think that's where I hopped on him, 5th at Barbasol, 6th at 3M, 3rd at Fortinet with like a kind of a legitimate chance to win until kind of a crappy Sunday. 40th at Shriners, 30th at Bermuda. He's playing good golf. He's gained 5.2, 5.6, 6.2 the last 3 measured rounds. Measured tournaments. His ball striking is excellent. Not the best putter on planet Earth, but he's shown the ability to putt well. And I like that he played all those Korn Ferry events where you just have to go crazy, crazy low. And this is another event where you have to go crazy low. He's proven that he can do that. Fortinet, 3rd, 6th, 3M Open, Barbasol, like all those events are just straight birdie fest. So I think 220 is a pretty fair number. I mean, we just saw him priced like at the top of the board last week. And he played all right, but getting him bumped back down to where he should be, I like that.
Yeah, it's like I said earlier, I think there's value now that we put him in good fields because he's not getting the respect that the other guys get based on his age and based on his experience. So I'm going to try to ride it as he keeps on finishing well, and then eventually his numbers will probably come down once he gets a crappy win sometime between now and next year. So,
right.
But yeah, I think there's a ton of value here. And I think you're going to see him on our bet slip many times between now and like next fall probably. So
definitely.
I'm going to go against you here, unfortunately. Not really against you. Going against an outright is not really against somebody because like outrights are so hit or miss. Like outrights are finish second and you can still lose. So it's like I'm going Taylor Gooch over Fitzpatrick plus 110. I like the plus money on this matchup. I couldn't find many matchups, as you said, that had like good numbers. Like all the numbers were crappy. It was like minus 14 on every single matchup for every single person. But I like this one. The win, I just looked it up also. The win for Fitzpatrick was I don't even know how to pronounce this, Andalusia Masters?
Yeah, Andalusia Masters.
It's
a good field. John Rahm was in that field.
Oh, so he won the Andalusia Masters. Good for him. I love it. But he can't win on the tour. When I looked up on him on Fantasy National, he only had one tournament on Paspalum, and it was the 2019 Zozo in Japan, the one that Tiger won. But now I guess those greens are bent now. I guess they changed them. So he got second to last in that tournament. He got 74 out of 75, unfortunately. I don't know if that was a part of the grass. I have no idea, but I'm just going to take that for whatever it's worth. Gooch has been awesome, though. So the other side of this is Taylor Gooch has been great. 5th, 11th, 4th in his last 3 starts. His approach was 6th in my model, which is great. And I got a little stat for you here. And I saw some other people putting this on Twitter, but then I went and did some research myself. Last 24 rounds, if you just do fairways gained with no other filters, he was 70th. So just overall filters. You take it down to under 7,200 yards, and he jumps all the way up to 25th. So there's something about hitting fairways on these shorter courses for Gooch that he maybe feels more comfortable, or maybe he just feels less pressure to hit.
My guess would be he's probably just hitting a different club. He's not hitting driver every time.
That could be too. So I don't know, but I think he fits, and he's playing so well. I'm going to try to take the money on a guy who is so hit or miss, which is fine, right? Hopefully, if I'll lose this bet if Fitzpatrick wins, I'm all for that. So we'll take either side, but I liked Gooch, and I like him coming in with a plus number because I couldn't find many matchups that I liked the number on.
I like Gooch. Gooch is one of those guys that I've bet quite a bit. I prefer to bet Taylor Gooch to like top 10 or win because like he just is all like he finishes. He's made a lot of cuts this year, but he hasn't like had that many great finishes because he just kind of,
Right.
he's a checkerboard guy. You look at Fantasy National, and it's kind of a checkerboard. He's been better recently. He's been a little more consistent recently, and he's been super, super good the last 3 weeks. I was definitely trying to find a way to get him on the card. That's an interesting fairway stat because that part of his game was kind of scaring me away from him when I was looking at matchups with him. But I didn't see that stat, where, basically to me, that means he just like realizes I don't need to hit driver. He'll just hit a
Right.
3-wood or a hybrid or whatever and get in the fairway,
Yeah.
which makes perfect sense.
Yeah, it's that, or like, I don't know. Maybe it's like he doesn't swing. Like, I feel like if you don't hit it as far and you go play these big courses, you probably have a lot of pressure on yourself to like hit
But
it.
he hits it far.
He's I don't even know how far does he hit? Is he like above average?
Yes, he's a bomber.
He's a
Or
bomber.
he well, I don't know about a bomber, but he hits it pretty far.
Oh.
Um,
Well, I don't know. Maybe it's a club. Maybe it's a little mental. I don't know. But if he maybe feels a little bit safer to like, hey, I don't have to hit it that. Okay, maybe it's that. Maybe he's like, I feel a little more comfortable not hitting it as far because I don't have to. Maybe clubs down. Maybe he just swings a little. Maybe just feels safer, in his head. I don't know, mentally. But I like it. So I think the stat kind of backs him up a little bit. He's playing really well, so I'm going to try to ride it.
Yeah, I like Gooch a lot. He's good. He's 60th on tour in driving distance, so that's like
pretty
top
good.
third.
Yeah, that's really good.
116th in driving accuracy, but like you said, it's been different for the shorter courses, so that's encouraging to see. But anyways, that's this will be a fun tournament to watch. I hope JT and Brooks and those guys actually show up to play. As someone who's not betting JT outright, he makes me nervous because I've been seeing his Instagram posts. He's been grinding, it seems like. And if he shows up, if he brings his A game, like it's a wrap. So
Brooks in an interview said that he's been like grinding on. He's like supposedly healthy now too. So if that's true and he plays well,
everyone's been betting him. I've seen on Twitter.
Right. So that'll be interesting to see what he does. If you're watching the tournament and you're bored, look up the resort because it's pretty fun to look at. I hope that Justin and I get to make a trip when we're older. Maybe we have like maybe when we're both married or something. I don't know. We'll go down there. But it looks amazing. The course looks great. It'll be great on TV. Pop it on Golf Channel on Sunday when you're chilling. So it should be a fun tournament. Views will be awesome. And if we get if we get some of these big guys, in contention, it'll definitely be fun.
Yeah. I hope we do. But I hope Matt Fitzpatrick wins. So. Or Patrick Reed. I would love to see like a Reed, Brooks, JT, kind of one of those three guys coming down the stretch there. Yeah, and Danny Lee. That'd be great. That would be big time. But good luck on your bets this week, and we'll see you next week.
See ya.